Hello, I'm Monickie Scott.
Hey, and this is Felina v. Flossin. Thank you for joining us as we support and encourage women in their five-star living journey. Today, we get to shine the five-star spotlight on Charles E. Cox Jr. He is a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and a published author of the book, Life is a Business. Manage it better so you'll enjoy it more. Welcome to the Five-Star Living Show, Charles.
Oh, thank you both for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on. So, life is a business. It offers 9 key principles that help you turn your life around and can help others do the same. I'm guessing. We will not be able to touch up on all 9 of those, but give us a nugget or two from the book that you can share.
I'll quick give you a history. So the book came from my financial demise. So I had what I describe as financial freedom. And it felt like overnight that all crumbled. And so out of the ashes of that experience, that part of my journey came the book Life is a Business. And I just sat around for days on end and just wondered, how did I end up in this place? And what I realized is that I didn't manage my life like a business, that I was born a business, and that the principles that successful businesses, like the examples I use in the book, are the same principles that we should be using to manage our lives, because our life is a business. So I outlined 9 key principles that businesses use, Fortune 500 companies, that I think that I know, in fact, that I didn't pay a close enough attention, if I paid any attention at all, to those principles. And that was a large part of why I ended up losing mostly everything that I had, including my family.
Wow. And so that tells a lot about how the book came to be. If there was just one little nugget that you would throw out there to somebody to make them go, oh, wow, okay, I got to get this book. What is like just one little nugget?
I would say just that you need to come to terms with the fact that you were born a business. That is the nugget. When you were born, we were all given a name by our parents, our guardians. No different than when you start a business, you decide on a name for that business. And then shortly after that, you're assigned in our personal lives a social security number. That's a 9-digit number. And when you start a business, you're assigned what they call an EIN number, employee identification number. And it's no a strange, it's no coincidence that that is also a 9-digit number, because it is used for the same purpose, and that's to track your financial movement. So the nugget is you are a business. You don't have to race out to start a business, especially if the business called you is already fledgling.
Wow, I love that. Sounds like you got to get your business together before you can do some other business.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. And who should read this book? Like, who would you say specifically it's for?
I would say anyone on Main Street. So I would say just about every citizen on this planet could gain something from this book, because oftentimes people don't view the principles that I lay out as business decisions. For example, I talk about vacations in the book. Many people don't view taking vacation as a business decision or a business principle, but it makes sense when you think about every corporation, every small business gives you paid vacation. Why is that? Not because they just care so much about you. What they know is that you need time away. You need time away from the business, time away from the projects, time away from the office. And once you've taken that time away and you successfully vacation, because oftentimes people don't really even know how to vacation. They're on their phones, they've got this going on, they're checking their emails, but they don't even know how to successfully vacation. So I would say there's a lot of people that don't even view that particular principle in terms of business. And so the 9 principles, I don't think many people have taken them the way I structured them in this book. And I don't think on a daily basis, most people are paying attention to each of these individual principles and how they need to come together to give you that 5-star life that you're searching for.
Absolutely. That is very deep. Well, I got my copy and I love it.
Yes, yes.
So you did mention earlier that there were some bumps along the road, right? What would you say is the biggest challenge you've had overcoming in your journey?
Getting out of my own way, being too
Mm,
much, being in my feelings too much. I mean,
Mm.
everything. So when something in my life doesn't go the way that I wanted it to, or the way that I planned, I immediately turn inwardly and I say to myself, what didn't you do? What could you have done differently? What could you should have done more of? What should you have done less of? And so I turn inwardly every single time. And so often when I was in the real estate world really heavy, I was employing many different people for many across several different businesses. I was in my own way. I was late to meetings. I was irresponsible. The list goes on. But the bottom line is I started feeling myself. And what I mean by that is start kind of believing my own press. And I just became uh, the centrifugal force. I just spun out of control. So everything that didn't go well, I take total responsibility for. I was just in my own way.
wow.
Hmm.
Thank you.
So there's someone listening right now who's in their own way. What wisdom would you give to them? What would you say to them if they were standing in front of you?
I would say to them, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop what you're doing, step back and take a panoramic view of your life and be honest with yourself. An assessment. If you need some outside help to do a proper assessment, that might be family or friends, and you ask them to tell you honestly what they're seeing in your movements and your behaviors and your actions. Or it could even be a level higher than that where you go to therapy. But I would say stop what you're doing right now, take a step back and a long look.
That's some good advice right there.
Yes.
Very
Mm-hmm.
good advice. So we talked about, the things that you did that you weren't so proud of. What is something that, like up to this point, what are you most proud of yourself for achieving?
Well, one of the things is this book. I mean, I am extremely proud of that. When you hear an author say it's my baby, I feel like life is a business is my baby, or my dog, my pet in some circumstances. So that's something I'm extremely proud of. But I will also add that wearing the title of philanthropist is something I'm also extremely proud of. I mean, I've run a couple of marathons; those are big deals to me. And I jokingly say to people, if you talk to me for longer than 5 minutes, I'm gonna tell you about the marathons I've run or the book that I've written, or both. I'm gonna figure out how to work that into the conversation. But on a deeper spiritual level, being an entrepreneur, being a philanthropist means so much to me. Being able to give back to others, being able to provide inspiration or motivation. And it isn't always for people who are in lesser positions than you or beneath you. Sometimes you can be a mentor or give unto yourself to people with a higher status than you. I struggle using that, but people who may have a bit more than you. So because society views that thing is makes it better or makes them think that they're better. But so you can also give to those folks. So the spectrum is extremely broad when your heart is in the right place. And I just enjoy wearing the title of a philanthropist, excuse me. And quite frankly, I mean, that's how I met you two. And I have extraordinary respect for you. I've seen the work that you do, and I am extremely proud to be able to say I played a small part in it.
Absolutely.
Huge. Every part to me is huge. Anybody who gives of their time and talents, it's huge.
And
There are no
and
small
from
givers
Yeah.
excuse me, and from the heart. You know, I talk
from
about
the heart.
philanthropy as a principle in the book, and it's amazing opportunities that come to those who are first willing to give up their time, to give up their talent from their heart. It's amazing the environment you find yourself in the energy, and quite frankly, some networking that's able to take place. It's an amazing thing. And I just want to touch on one thing quickly
Yes.
around this idea of being a philanthropist. There's a huge misconception, and that's that you have to be wealthy. And oftentimes, philanthropists are very wealthy people. However, it is not by definition in the Webster's dictionary, it does not say, I promise you, that you have to be rich or you have to be wealthy. We can all wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm a philanthropist. That's what I did. I woke up and decided I am going to wear this title. So I placed it on my business card.
Love it.
There's nothing
You taught me
stopping me.
something because I believe that I've had that misconception as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Absolutely
not
not.
have
I'm a
considered myself a
philanthropist.
philanthropist until you said so. So thank you. I
You're
have a new
welcome.
title as of today. I am a
Yes.
philanthropist,
I'm
Own
a
it.
philanthropist as well.
and I'm going to
Own
own
it.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, so Charles, let's do a little 5-star business before we go further.
Yes.
When you hear the words 5-star living, what does that mean in your world?
Well, first of all, I love the concept of 5-star living, and I would reduce that to harmony. 5-star living to me
Okay.
is getting to a place where your mind, body, and soul is in harmony. And so I emailed you that video that I actually took, and I was on a vacation and I saw that video. I saw that image of that heart and all of those different cogs moving. And it made me think of a body. And I thought we have all of these major organs that make it possible for us to walk and eat and be on this planet, right? And so I looked at that image and I thought, that is me. And if you look at that image closely, everything is just working at the speed in which it's designed to work. And wrapped around that is a big heart, love. So one of my goals most recently is just to spread more love. And I believe that that will help keep me in harmony. I was an electrician in my first trade, and there's this piece of equipment called an oscilloscope. An oscilloscope allows you to see a sine wave. And for a majority of my life, my sine wave looked like this. It was a lot of ups. And then there's times when it would be flatline, it'd be stable. Then there's a lot of downs. And now, as I'm seeking to be in harmony, that sine wave is flatter and flatter. And my continuum of life is more enjoyable. So my idea of 5-star living is simply to be in harmony with oneself.
I love that.
Excellent answer. And what are some things that you do to bring balance to your life or to stay in harmony?
I travel. That's one thing so I've got a t-shirt that says, do more of what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so a friend of mine bought a boat a few years ago, and I was a little agitated with him because it got in the way of a business that he and I started together. And then more recently, he bought a bigger boat. And I said to myself, I admire him. He's doing more of what makes him happy. So the things that make me happy are traveling. The things that make me happy is laughing more. The things that make me happy is sitting back and just listening to music for hours at a time. Taking care of my body, so learning new ways to do that, learning new ways of feeding myself, learning new foods that work for me and eliminating some of the lesser healthy foods. Yeah. I just simply do more of what makes me happy.
Wow. Isn't it amazing? It just takes a little bit, just a little bit to bring the harmony.
Yeah. Yeah. And once, and harmony is an interesting thing, because if you're not careful, you let things, people, perceptions erode at your harmony. So that's something I've been spending a lot of time on personally, is adjusting a couple of things. Number one is my perception about things that I've seen or that have happened. And then obviously my response to those things. Because oftentimes things happen to us and we feel like the sky is falling. Well, factually speaking, the sky isn't falling. That's the perception I fed myself. So now I'm very careful with the words that I use, with the perceptions, with my thoughts. I really pay close attention to all of those things, because I know that could upset my balance, my harmony.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen. So,
and I hope that makes sense. As I try to explain it, I don't know that it always connects, but I'll just tell you that sine wave and keeping things more level than so much of this in my daily life.
Well, I'm a music lover, so for me it makes sense because if you think of harmony, if that one note is not where it's supposed to be,
Yes.
that sound is not as great as it should be and needs to be. So I think that's a perfect example.
Please let me touch on one thing, and I can't even take credit for this. And this has probably been said many times, but one of the most important parts about a composition is the quietness in between notes, the pause in between lyrics, just as important as the sounds. Man, when I started conceptualizing that, it made so much sense. Like, we have so much noise going on in our lives. We need to make sure we have some space in order to have harmony, in order to live the 5-star life.
Well, I know a lot about the pause. I'm always talking about the pause. Take a pause, y'all. Listen, you have been so awesome, and I know I loved your book when I read it. I read it a while back, and I know anyone who gets it is going to find a wealth of information, and they're going to be truly helped from it. Share with our listeners how they can find you online and how can they buy the book.
Okay, you can find me online. I largely use Instagram, so it's Life is a Business Book on Instagram, or at Chucky Cox. Don't laugh, you guys, but people
Wait, say that one more time. I don't know if I heard that right. I heard the Life is a Business part, and then what was it?
And my other IG page, my more personal one, but I invite anyone to follow me there as well, as at Chucky, Chuckie, Chucky Cox. A lot of people who know me will say my whole name. Hey, Chucky Cox, how you doing today? So that's one way. My website is www.lifeisabusiness.com, where there's a link where you can purchase the book through Amazon there. You can also find a link to follow me on LinkedIn there. And if you wanted to purchase the book from me personally, my email address is lifeisabusiness@gmail.com. That way you can buy it directly from me, and I can get it signed for you without having to do any other steps. So those are the best ways to reach me. I'm just going to say my website once again, www.lifeisabusiness.com. And here's a copy of or image of my baby, something that I'm extremely proud of.
What a beautiful baby.
Thank you. And people get a lot of aha moments from reading it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Again, it's an honor and an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you all for listening to us and joining us on this 5-star day. We believe in you. We believe that you're going to have a more 5-star life starting right now.
Right now, y'all. We know you could have been anywhere, but you chose to be right here with us. And so for that, we thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on Facebook at 5-Star Living Show and joining us in the 5-Star Living Show Inner Circle. Remember to laugh more and love more while taking care of your mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely. The 5-Star Living Show is sponsored in part by Flossie Flicks Photography, Monickie.com, Flossie Locks, and Meditate with Mo. Until next time, keep 5-star living.
Keep 5-star living, y'all, and show us some love by leaving a comment and subscribing on YouTube. Bye-bye. We'll see you next time.